welcome to New Parents in Training. So today's episode is on 5 tips on how to work remotely. So for the last 3 months, I've been working remotely. I never worked remotely before, and this is the first time I work from home. And I have faced so many challenges. It was a learning curve for me. So I have 5 tips that I want to share that has worked well for me. So the first tip, and it's the most important tip of all, is to have very good communications from the very beginning. And before getting to the communication part, it's important to assess your needs. What are your current needs? What are the needs for your family? And also, what are the needs for the company or for your work? So it was very important for me to set up a time with my husband and with my family to go over and assess our needs. With my husband, I need to make sure that we set a good schedule. So is in my household is my husband and our baby. Our baby is very young. He's 1 year old. He demands a lot of attention. And it was hard for both of us to be working at the same time and not devoting time to our kid. Because my job demands full attention with direct reports to managers and supervisors and to the different stakeholders through emails, texts, calls, meetings, my schedule took a priority versus my husband, who is self-employed and doesn't have a fixed schedule. His schedule was a little more flexible. And so we arranged that I work during the daytime, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and my husband would take care of the baby during that time. And during nighttime, I will take care of the baby and he will work on his projects or whatever is needed for his job. Every morning, I let my husband ahead of time what my day will look like. And so that he has clear expectations, what times I have meetings that I need to present and that cannot be interrupted whatsoever. Even if there is a poop explosion out there, I cannot come and rescue him. And so I set very clear expectations every single day. And so then my husband can reach to me whenever I'm not in a busy schedule or in a busy hour. And the same thing goes for my husband. So if he has a morning errands he has to go or he has to pick up some groceries, then I work with him to select a time during the day where I can take a break and take over in caring for our baby while my husband does the errands. I think communication is not only important to your spouse, but also important to the children or other family members. I think for kids, it's important to set them expectations that you're now working from home. And it might not work for everybody because for our kid who is so young, he doesn't understand the idea of what is remote work like. And so if he sees me at home, he thinks I'm actually off from work. And so he cannot understand when I'm busy. It's really hard for both parents to work at the same time, especially for young kids. One, it's hard to multitask, especially if the job demands full attention. And so it's hard to put full attention to the kids. And I know many parents are struggling at this time because a lot of daycares, they're closed or schools are closed. And so if alternative work schedule doesn't work, my advice is to seek out help with extra family members such as grandpa, grandma, aunts, uncles, but also nannies and daycares. Those daycares are open. I also found a tip from parents that work at the same time is that they will focus their most or the highest priority tasks during the morning because that's when we are the most energetic and has the highest focus and can crunch time to put everything together. But those that are less in priority, those tasks can be finished towards the end of the day or towards the night when their kids are asleep. Aside having good communication with the family and spouse, it's also very important to set communication with your working colleagues or with your manager or both. It's important to express the situation at home. So it's important to work with managers or direct supervisors. As for me, I have to let them know that there are some deadlines I won't be able to meet or that I may be delayed to submit a project or submit reports but I think it's important to let them know ahead of time. It's also important to know what your ability is. I have been able to say no to projects and to extra responsibilities because I don't want to overpromise for something that I cannot deliver. And especially in the situation when working remotely is something that I'm still trying to find balance. And so it's very important to plan ahead. Try to avoid last minute deadlines to other people, especially if you're delegating to others. Having in mind that other colleagues also have families and they're also working from home, so they may not respond as prompt as you expect them to do. So, tip number 2. I know we are working very hard, we're working remotely from home, but it's so important to take breaks in between. And so what I do is I take about 5 to 10 minutes break for every 30 minutes high focus activity. Those 5 to 10 minutes, I could go to a bathroom, I could eat, I could drink some water, and just basically give my brain a little break before I start my high energy task. If I have a project that takes longer than 20 or 30 minutes, then I'll set a break every 2 hours, and the break take about 10 minutes to 20 minutes. This type of break, I could use the time to do exercise, to do stretches, to do aerobics, or to play with my baby or spend time with my spouse. And I don't feel guilty taking the extra time or the breaks in between. It's important for my sanity and also for my body. But the time I allocate for the break times are the same amount as I took before I work remotely. So those times that are break times are not any different on what I used to do. So tip number 3, it's important to make your home office very comfortable, especially if this is a space that you're going to be working permanent or for very long hours. So for me, before I started working remotely, I had an office, but our office was very disorganized. It was messy and it was just very plain and boring at the same time. And so, in order for me to make it comfortable, I added some plants. I also make it a very pleasant environment to work, a little bit of decorations, frames with baby pictures, and frames of messages to encourage me throughout the day. I also kept it very organized to lessen the distraction. So, for example, having the set tools that I need to work stored in one area, but also file cabinets in a different area. Throughout the day, I make sure that I keep it clean, free from clutter. I advise for a home office to have doors, and if they are lockable, the better. The reason why is because you don't want to create visibility to kids or even spouses, because that calls for attention and distraction as well. If the office is very accessible and there are no doors to stop the baby to get into your stuff, then a baby gate can be also an alternative, which keep your stuff safe from the baby. So I am terrified of presenting in a very important meeting to different customers and important stakeholders, and then my baby will barge into the room crying or just screaming at me, because I understand what it's like working remotely, but I don't know if my customers would. And so it was very important that I keep the door locked and closed just to prevent that. Otherwise, I recommend to put the table facing towards the door. So if the door is not lockable and or it's easy to enter, once the baby will barge in, then I could easily just click the button or cover the camera so that my kid will not show into the meeting. So tip number 4, there are some gadgets that are worth to splurge. The first one is a noise canceling headphone. So I have the Apple AirPods Pro, and these were the Christmas gift from my husband, and they are so nice in noise canceling. My baby, his room is actually next to my office, and so when he wakes up crying or trying to take a nap and making noises, I put these noise canceling headphones and I don't hear anything. I mean, I do hear a little bit, but very faint, but at least it will help me focus in my work. This is something I highly recommend. I think headphones that have noise canceling is a must. My next gadget is this little video camera cover. This was actually a gift, and I don't know how I got it, but I know somebody gave it to me. And basically what I do is I cover the camera. If I need to show myself to a meeting, I just slide it off and turn my Zoom or my webcam button so I could present. But I'm just afraid that what if I forget to turn it off and I need to pump, or if I need to be eating, or if I'm doing something else that my face will be showing to a meeting without me knowing. This is the fastest way to cover the camera instead of me clicking through a button. So say for example, if the baby does barge in, I could just easily slide it really fast to cover it, and that's quicker than looking for the button on how to stop the video. Other ways to make home office more enjoyable is to make your tools that you're using more ergonomic, meaning a wireless mouse or a ergonomic keyboard. I have a laptop stand. This one I got it from IKEA for less than $5. And so it's very simple. It stands the laptop so it will be easier for me to type, and also creates more space for me to work. I also have a very comfortable chair, and this ergonomic chair, I bought it a long time ago, but it does provide great back support as well for lumbar support and also arm support. As you can see, I have like 3 screens in my office. One is coming from the laptop, one is from a random monitor I found and I used it a long time ago. And the third one is this portable monitor that I've been using for years. I love this portable monitor. I think it serves a great double screen wherever I go. The nice thing about this one is it's very light and it connects by USB. So it doesn't require another external power. So like another connector to an outlet, it just powers through the USB through the laptop. So I highly recommend, especially for those people that are working at different locations for the same jobs. And so having a double screen, it really saves time, but also creates a better visibility on the tasks and projects required by work. So my 5th tip is to find an activity that can replace the commute time. Replacing the commute time through an activity that you like will help to start your day and also end your day. So for me, it will take me door to door about 30 minutes. So that is sitting through traffic, finding parking space, and then walking to my office. And so those 30 minutes has been replaced by an activity that I like to do. And one example is that I start doing is to make breakfast. I never did breakfast before. It was always a rush for me to get out of the door and go to work. And so my husband always made the breakfast. But now that I have extra time, instead of commuting, I spend the time to make breakfast and make food for my family, and I find it so enjoyable. So after that commute time or breakfast time that I do, then I start my work, do my 8 hour, and then towards the end of the day, I break my work day. And so the way I do it is that at 6, I shut down everything. So I turn off my computer, I turn off my work cell phone, I start responding to all work related emails, and then I just grab the baby and I go out with the baby and then stroll around the neighborhood just to get some fresh air, just to have the bonding time with my baby. I think having one activity to start your day and one activity that helps to break your workday is so important, because if we don't find boundaries on when to start or when to end, it just creates that working from home, it becomes very tiresome, because then I feel like I'm working 24/7 with no break. And so it's important that I have that expectation for myself to keep my work a little bit separate from my home life. After working remotely for 3 months, I find it more manageable to work from home. And I hope that these 5 tips that I share with you can help you as well. Feel free to comment down below for any tips that you have that you can share with me as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Until then, bye-bye.